Hello, my wonderful broskies in the Maverick Nation, broskies and broskies of the Maverick Nation, and welcome to yet another What If. And there's going to be another What If after this one as well. I guess I'm just pepping my, prepping myself up for whenever I finally do season 2 of all of the series, 3 series. Getting myself back into the shape of things. All these new stories. It will be something to, This third what if will kind of be like the what if Izuku was a hollow, but kinda not. You see, my favorite character in all of Bleach is Ulquiorra, and there have been these what ifs, like what if Izuku was the reincarnation of so and so. So I don't think anyone's ever really done. Like I know that people have done like what if like a Izuku had Ulquiorra's powers, but the way I'm looking to do this is a little bit more personal like. And I think you might be able to get what I mean whenever we actually start the thing. Basically, whatever I'm going to say is whenever Ulquiorra got freaking destroyed, whenever he finally figured out what the heart was, well, considering who has the most heart in all of the freaking My Hero Academia series, besides All Might, who has the most heart? Our protagonist. Freaking Izuku Midoriya has the most heart in all of the freaking series. Because, all of the ladies are after this guy. He's literally the unsung freaking ladies' man. Besides, I can kind of see a little bit of an Ulquiorra Orihime relationship thing in between Izuku and Uraka. Because, Izuku is himself. He is very antisocial. And, Ulquiorra, very antisocial. Only really any type of sociability because of the fact that he had to be with that group. With the other freaking 8 or 9 or shit, whatever. However many number. The other Espada. That's the only reason why he was any bit sociable is because he had to be with them. Because, Aizen wills it. And basically, Uraraka, she may not be able to reject and just heal people. But, she does have her own, things that she's got going for her. Like, eventually the gunhead martial arts, but she also has her original quirk, the thing with gravity. That might prove to be useful. And so she's not completely useless, just like how Orihime wasn't completely useless. And she's a female, counterpart to our male protagonist. And why I say counterpart is because, well, they really aren't in like those stages yet. I don't think they are. So that's basically why I just said counterpart. So basically, it's the same thing, more or less. You have someone who is antisocial and someone who maybe isn't exactly all that useful, but isn't completely useless. And so you can kind of get where I'm coming from here. So basically, after Ulquiorra gets like disintegrated into nothing, he he is in this void, and he hears the words that everyone hears in the beginning or sees in the beginning, depending on if you're reading the manga or watching the anime. The words that are in the beginning of the series, all men are not created equal. And that kind of says volumes about how My Hero Academia goes. He keeps on hearing those words though. He keeps on like you know, deeper into the void. And he keeps on hearing it more and more. All men are not created equal. All men are not created equal. All men are not created equal. But then he hears something else. He hears a voice. Sounds like Orihime, though. But maybe you can change that for this one kid. And whenever he hears this, like, maybe he can change that for this one kid? What kid? What the hell? He feels himself begin to... He doesn't really know what's happening with his body, or whatever's left of it. Or why he heard Orihime's voice, and why it said that. Like, change that for this one kid? And then she hears another thing in, like, the sound of Orihime's voice. He wants to be like him. He wants to be the #1 hero. He has such a great future ahead of him if someone were to just be able to guide him in the right direction. You can do that, right, Ulquiorra? And the voice knows his name, and well, it sounds like Orihime, and he's like, what is any of this? Explain yourself. And then he hears a voice say, you are in no position to be giving orders. I am simply here to put a light on the situation. And then he's like, wait, light on the... And then just whoosh. Like, fast forward to, the whole, Quirk Doctor scene where, Izuku is told about, his quirk. Now, in the original, series, he was told that he was quirkless. But, whenever the whole evaluation thing goes... Well, not really evaluation... But, whenever everything is said and done, they begin to realize something. They actually might think that he has several quirks. And Inko looks surprised with this. Like, wait, what? They actually think he might... Ma'am, Miss Midoriya, I actually think your son might have several quirks, and, most of the doctors that I've talked to agree with me. He might actually have several quirks. We have no idea what's going on. Like, what even is this? And she's basically just like, you mind showing me what you mean? And he's just like, well, Izuku, you mind coming over here? And Izuku's just like, well, yeah, sure. And Izuku, basically, yeah. They're just like this dummy, and he's just like, punch the dummy with all of your strength. And Izuku's like, okay, I'll punch the dummy. It just seems like all stuff I've done before, though. Anyways, I guess I'll just punch it again. And just like, boom! And just pulverizes it. Just like, as soon as it connects, it's like pulverized into nothing. And if you're not convinced by that, and he just like goes to like freaking put an IV inside Izuku, and like the IV breaks, Like, it can't break through his skin. It, like, breaks the IV. And now, Izuku, would you mind running over to, mm, well, the, cafe and, getting me a coffee? Coming right back as fast as possible. Like, chop chop. I'll be timing you. And he's just like, okay, 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 okay. And like, click, click, like, click, click, like that fast. And like, Inka literally thinks she's seeing after images of her son. Like, it was that fast. And he's like, see? Hmm. And this coffee is really fresh. Yes. You did superb, Izuku. But, there is one last thing. And then he takes like a freaking like really sharp blade and then he just goes to hack at Izuku's arm and like Inko's freaking the frick out, like what the hell? And Izuku's just like, why are you freaking out, Mom? And she just realized his blade was broken by Izuku's skin. And her face, she's just like, so is his quirk that he's more advanced type of body than usual? And you're just like, this is where it comes down to multiple quirks. You see, and then she just realizes that Izuku's arm begins to slide off. Well, it did manage to break my blade. There was some successfulness, as I seem to have caught him off guard this time. The other time I wasn't able to, but this time, and Izuku's just like, holy crap, my arm! And then just like all of a sudden, wait, I'm feeling something where my arm is. And it's just like, just like what happened whenever Ulquiorra got his arm freaking lopped off by freaking Vasto Lord Ichigo. It's just like, and basically he just has a new arm, and then the old arm just deteriorates into nothing. And Izuku's just like, oh, well, that never happened before in our test. That never happened before. Well, I was testing to see if, considering that it went all the way down to your arm, if something similar would happen. And Enko's like, dude, you are freaking insane. Is there, like, anything else I need to know? Actually, yes. Remember that thing you did with your finger? Oh yeah, those targets? For some reason they were like, did you make them disappear on your own? And he goes like, what, disappear on? She says like, okay, I'm interested. What the hell you mean by finger and targets and disappear on their own? And he's just like, Izuku, point your finger at that one, and then whatever you said you did. Okay, I guess okay, and then he just holds it up, and then all of a sudden, and the freaking target is just gone like it was never even there. The only reason that I could actually tell that the target was there in the first place is because there's a big freaking hole in the ground. And Nico's just like, what the? But I thought it was just his body. But this is. He can't have more than one. But how? Oh, that's not the entire extent of it. You can also hold certain types of these things. And Izuku's just like, is that all? And he's just like, well, I could go on, but, it seems the gist is that, What was that more powerful attack you said you had? Oh, you mean the one that happens whenever I got scared? Because of that really big dummy? Yeah, I didn't really know how to, uh, think at first. I mean, it was bigger than all the others, so, I guess I used a little bit too much force. I felt really tired afterwards, though. But, I didn't really feel tired for long. And he goes, like, stronger attack? Like, what you mean? Like, freaking, like, strongest attack, freaking anything, like, whatever. And then he's just like, I don't think you would want your mother to miss out on it. Show her. If you have enough energy for it, that is. And he's like, well, of course. I mean, I'm plenty well rested now. And then he just, like, holds out his hand, and he just, like, shunk, shunk. And there's just, like, this freaking, like, not Lanza del Relampago, that's Ulquiorra's most powerful attack. Lanza della Luna. Basically, like a miniature version of Lanza della Luna in his hand, because, he's not as strong as Ulquiorra yet. Like, he's getting, like he is, basically, seeing as he's just, not even 15, like, he's, like, freaking 5. It would basically be corresponded to someone like Ulquiorra if he was 5. Basically, we're just going with that. And, the longer it is, the more stuff he'll be able to do. And, whatever he gets freaking one for all, that's gonna awaken a whole new batch of secrets. Yes, I am giving him one for all. Don't at me. And he basically just like this, and he's just holding Lanza della Luna in his hand. And like, and the Quirk Doctor, like, freaks Inko out even further by saying, like, didn't you give it a weird name? Like, also that blast that destroyed that dummy a weird name? Oh, you mean the blast that destroyed that dummy that we did again? Oh, I don't really think Cero is that weird of a name. I mean, it's just Spanish for zero. What's so what's so weird about that? Oh, and this? This is just Spanish for Lance of the Moon. Lanza de la Luna. Get it? Lanza. So, Lance, del, of, and then basically he explains Lanza is Lance, and de la, of the, and then Luna is, moon. So, Lanza de la Luna, Lance of the Moon. Well, I guess you could say I know my fair share of Spanish. And, I just thought these things were kind of interesting, so I decided to go with a theme. And he's like, well, do you have a name for any of your other stuff? Well, before I answer that, Doctor, I think I've been holding Lanza della Luna in my hand for a little bit too long. And he's just like, well, then throw it at the dummy. And he's just like, okay. And then like, shoot, like, boom. I could also use it to cut or impale. I mean, it's not just a ranged weapon. It can also be used as a close-up weapon, as you saw with the other dummies. Well, Mom didn't exactly see that, but I think she would believe me by now. Basically, Izuku explains the names he gave to, like, all of his other stuff, like the super speed he calls Sonido, also known as Sonic, because that's actually Spanish for Sonic. And, the whole strength thing, like, why his skin's so damn strong and, like, hard to penetrate. He calls that thing, that thing, Hierro. and hierro is Spanish for iron. Just for those of you guys that don't know these things, that aren't bleach nerds like me. And the whole regeneration thing, he doesn't really give it a Spanish name, he just calls it high speed regeneration. High speed regeneration. Shit. Why can I not say it right? He just calls it high speed regeneration. He calls it high speed regeneration. So basically, he explains Sonido, Hierro, high speed regeneration. And then he has the whole Cerro and Lanza de la Luna. And, he thinks he could actually come up with like more stuff that he could do, with his quirk. Inko like is almost freaking passed out from just how shocked she is. Like what the hell? And Izuku's just like, well, now that I've shown Mom pretty much everything, huh? Yeah, I think I'm pretty much in the clear. So can we go now? And it's just like, yes, you can go now. And Inko's like, but what exactly would you call a quirk like that? And, actually, Izuku has kind of been like hiding things in this part of the whole conversation with him, the doctor, and his mother. Every time it gets called like a fried up, every time it gets like called like a quirk, like he'll just hear something be like, "I am not a quirk. I am Ulquiorra Cipher." It's like, "I am not a quirk." He just like, keeps on like repeating it like in his mind, and he's just like, and basically, Izuku can basically like understand that this whole thing in his head isn't exactly going to go away unless he does something about it. And so he just like, you know, just you know, just murmurs to himself, whoever you are talking to me inside my head, who are you? He not loud enough to where they can hear him. And he just hears, I am Ulquiorra Cipher. I don't know how I got here, and how you have my powers. But this is interesting. Very interesting indeed. Hmm. It does seem interesting. Whenever I was still alive in my own body, I was known as the fourth espada, or espada numero cuatro. And then he's like, that's 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 it. And Inko and the doctor were just like, wait, what do you mean? What's it? My quirk. I finally figured out a name for it. This might sound weird, but seeing as some of the other abilities that were in Spanish, I decided I'll name my quirk Cuatro. No certain reason just besides the whole Spanish motif. And, Ulquiorra's just like, Cuatro, you're a smart kid. But don't let your brain give you an ego. Is that understood, Midoriya? He's like, seeing as he's like a part of Izuku, like him and Ulquiorra are like linked. They know like each other's like first and last names. Because, he just was now told like Ulquiorra Cipher, so he knows the first and last name. And Ulquiorra, as soon as like he was connected with Izuku, he knew his like last name and like started like whatever. So basically, he knows that Izuku is Izuku Midoriya. He knows that like instantly, like the moment like the powers started showing up, like Ulquiorra was there, and he automatically somehow like they just like into his head the name Izuku Midoriya. And whenever he was like looking at this kid and the name popped in, and it was like, this must be Izuku Midoriya. I must be in this kid's body, and the body of Izuku Midoriya. And Bakugo, freaking Bakugo, like he just wants to be like, in the original he was like, you'll never be a Quirk, you'll just be a Deku. And this, he's not so inclined to be a dick. But what is interesting is even in their, pasts, you know, even after everything in the past, Izuku, uh, what the, that was not anything to do with my Wi-Fi, thank God. Basically, you know, Izuku is just, fine. Him and Bakugo are, it's really more of a love-hate relationship with him and Bakugo now. Because Bakugo, honestly knows about the fact that Izuku does have a quirk, and he knows how ridiculous the freaking quirk is. But he also he also believes he knows something else. That there has to be more to the quirk. That it, more or less, he isn't really like he doesn't. Bakugo is he knows something's up, and well, he also finds it weird that Izuku really isn't all like the bright-eyed and bushy-tailed, little cinnamon bun. He can, for like, it's like a freaking just days. He can just be like yeah, that's cool, whatever. He can just be all like chill and just be like, how could he be all that like chill one time and be all freaking like a freaking cinnamon roll the next? Like, what's up with him? Is the whole mood change a part of his quirk too? Little does Bakugo know that the whole mood change thing is actually due to Ulquiorra, being like, you know, you just know like the whole thing. Basically, it's just a bunch of explanations where like you just explain it with just saying, it just happened. Basically, Ulquiorra's becoming an influence onto Izuku, and so, you know, he just has sometimes, some days where he's just more chill than he is on other days. Actually, most of the time he's more chill, but, he still has the whole thing with, like, All Might and stuff, and, like, Ulquiorra's like, I will never understand why you idolize him so. Though, more or less, I can understand your not exactly favoritism of this one you call Kachan, known as Tiatsuki Bakugo. And well, yeah, you just be like Izuku would just be like, well, I guess I got it, but well, I guess I got it from you. And Izuku, like Ulquiorra, even though he would hate to admit it, like they are kind of friends. Well, they're getting there. It's kind of like Naruto and Kurama, like how they had to like little baby steps. Basically, Ulquiorra is Izuku's Kurama. Bakugo would just be like, wonder what's up with him. Just like yesterday, he's in that face he keeps on making. And every time the door opens and someone else comes in, he keeps on looking at them until they sit down, and then he just stares at the ceiling again. What is up with him? And then Aizawa would just show up and he'd be like, okay, just frickin', we're gonna do a quirk. Actually, no, I completely skipped the whole entire thing with like the written exam and the whole freaking like the pointer robots. Well, basically, like with Izuku being reincarnation of Ulquiorra, and Ulquiorra basically these robots would be more or less considered like a chow for like a freaking Minos Grande. Basically, Minos Grande, just like regular Minos, like the one that Ichigo freaking locked up its freaking arm. There's like a regular Minos would just like destroy these things. So what do you think freaking Ankarar, freaking Vastolorde Ankarar level freaking Ulquiorra inside Izuku's body? It's obvious he's going to get like first place. And like there was a reason why Ulquiorra was Aizen's advisor. He's pretty damn smart. So he would also get the best scores in the whole written exam. So that's what I guess you could say that would be a good reason to like skip all of that. I guess the one thing I wouldn't skip would be that he does save Uraraka, but it's more or less like a Uraraka just like just save her and then go off, just be like. But he actually does kind of like for a second, he just like has this like look on his face. It's not like really a look of like anti-socialism, like how Izuku, you know, normal, normally is. Shit, I cannot, I cannot freaking speak. Apparently, and Uraraka would be like, "Man, Izuku's normally really weird around girls." Basically, like it'd be like his first time ever seeing a girl. He'd just be all chill. He'd be like seeing Ulquiorra knows about Orihime, and you know she she seems like a lot like her, that girl. She seems a lot like her, and yet a lot not like her. I don't know why, but I think you might be able to get along very well with that one, Midoriya. And Izuku's just like, well, thanks. And then, you get to like the first day of like UA, and Izawa's just like, well, we're gonna do a quick assessment test. And since it isn't a quirk, it's freaking Ryatsu. Uh, Aizawa's whole Eraserhead quirk thing isn't going to work. And Aizawa's just gonna be like, what the hell? The whole thing with the softball and all the other things. He either gets close to first place or first place. The only time he would really not get first place is if he didn't want to get first place. Because to be honest with you guys, Ulquiorra in the anime, in the freaking manga, they are just not, they are not. Ichigo, none of his friends, we were prepared for the awesomeness, which was Ulquiorra, to be honest. Like, freaking Ichigo had to go Vasta Lorde to be able to even do anything against the guy. So, yeah, that would pretty much prove that the only thing he would only like, he would only like he would really only diss like the whole chance at getting infinity because of the fact that he really didn't feel like it. He's like the whole nihilism thing kicks in. He's like, "What's the point?" And he's gonna be like, "What do you mean? What's the point?" And he just like, what, uh, nah, it would only get harder and harder for you to understand the more I tried to explain it to teach. And, whenever he calls Izawa teach, he's just like, Izuku, he's going to be a tough one, I can tell. Something about him. It's not right. It's not right at all. And that is where I'm going to stop because 37 minutes. Oh my god, thank you. 37 minutes. The Dark Shadow never gets out. Adasses.